Welcome back to Good Moms Bad Choices. I'm Erica.
And I'm Milah.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy hump day.
It's humpity hump hump. I feel good today.
Thank God.
I know.
Good, because last week I was like, girl.
You're supposed to support me through my...
I did.
God.
I did support you, but I was scared.
Jeez.
I was also scared for you.
Can't hold it all together all the fucking time.
I was concerned for your well-being and also your eyesight. You were doing a lot of driving with those dry eyes, and I was concerned.
Well, I think Trap Yoga Bay was right. Shout out to Brittany, because she told me that I was having migraines, and I think that's really what it was. I think that it wasn't that I had dry eyes. It was that I was having a migraine, even though my head wasn't hurting.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so happy that you're feeling better now, sweetheart.
I know. Hopefully we can sustain this feeling.
Whatever it takes. How was your week? What have you been doing, love?
My week has been good. I've just been succumbing to the day. Do you know what I mean? And not trying to fight against it, because I do that every day. Like, I do that all the time, as far as like, if I haven't finished anything, if I haven't finished something that I've said I'm going to finish, I will push the boundaries and limits of my mental and physical capacity to finish it, because I feel bad if I don't. And yesterday, I had shit to do, but I had a migraine and I just really couldn't do anything about it. So I just went to sleep.
Sometimes you have to just submit to your body and submit to the fact that, like, shit will get done eventually. And if it don't get done today, everybody will be okay.
I mean, it helps that I have another business partner. I'm like, bitch, I can't do it.
I'm like, are you okay over there?
You got to do it. I'm sorry.
Like, I'm blind. I'm like, okay, well, I don't recommend you keep texting me. Like, why are you texting me? Speaking of hard work, today we pulled a card like we do every top of the show. And today's card is the Knight of Pentacles. And you know what? We started this to like have structure in our show, but I'm kind of proud that I'm kind of learning the tarots. I'm actually, not only am I learning the tarots, but I've been trying to teach Luna how to read tarots intuitively. I have another witchy friend, and I was telling her that we'll like play with the cards. I'll let her pull them and then tell me what they make her feel like, or what they like based on the suits and the signs. And we were doing it the other night, and my little witchy ass child was on point. So I'm happy you guys are all learning tarot with me. This is the Knight of Pentacles, and the Knight, like in most of the suits, it represents hard work. And this one particularly is about structure, hard work, dear. And maybe that's why your eyes are telling you you've worked hard enough. It also means, it shows that you're a natural planner and implementer. You envision your goal, determine the best course of action, and then stick to your path with a methodical and relentless focus. When you're in implementation mode, sorry, the job will get done, even if it requires hard work along the way. Meticulous in your approach, you make sure that everything is planned and executed down to the tiniest detail, and you will never leave a job half done. It is essential to you that you complete all assigned tasks and projects to a certain standard, that you follow through on your promises. Sometimes the Knight of Pentacles points to more mundane or boring aspects of life, the daily grind, repetitive schedules, household chores, and other responsibilities and obligations. You may have assigned you may be assigned a project or give a task to do, and you will have to commit your time to see the project through. It suggests that you are taking a moderate and conservative approach to life right now, and while you may be feeling that change is imminent, you're sticking to your tried and tested ways of doing things. You have established that you need routine and careful planning if you are to achieve your goals. It may not necessarily be an exciting period, but at least you know you're on the right path.
That's crazy that I pulled that card, because that has been like on my heart, like the past week or two. I've been telling you how like we and me too, like we need structure, like way more structure in our business, that I need to have a schedule, and that I need to create a schedule for myself and actually write down breaks within my schedule that I can take, because if I don't, I will never take them. And that also speaks to me too, because I recently enrolled in school, and our back to school month of September really inspired me. I think that inspired me. Our conversation with Sylvia, if you guys haven't checked out that episode with Sylvia Ancestral, she did our natal chart reading. And in my natal chart reading, she told me that my healing powers were in sex, and that I really need to tap into that part of my journey into being a healer. And so I started researching, what can I learn that would be of interest to me? Because I think me and Milah both have like been like, we need to go back to school. We need to be like smart bitches.
So that's the voice we used.
I want to be a smart bitch.
Me too.
You too, me too. And so, of course, I went on like, let me look on Valley College.
Can you stop with this? I don't know if anyone's noticed. Me and Erica also always use particular voices for particular things. I don't know. This is we need an education.
You should have heard us editing sending David notes for our retreat video. It was like, and then we walk into the jungle.
And we're like, maybe we should.
And
welcome to the jungle.
Welcome to the deep jungles of Costa Rica.
Retreat.
And I was like, why are we talking like this?
I was like, I don't know. That's how you're supposed to read it. Heal. Make friends.
Retreat.
I'm like, should we send David a voice note so he knows this is how it should sound? He's like, no. I hope everyone out there read our retreat video just like that.
Heal, connect. Yeah, so anyway, I've looked on websites of traditional colleges and thought about like what courses can I take, and they all are like, I get like anxiety, and then I like close my computer and I'm like, never mind. So I listening to Sylvia, I was like, well, let me like see if like maybe something in sex. So I started looking into tantra. I started looking into just different like ways that I could educate myself, and sexology came up, and I was thinking, wow, like I've interviewed two really amazing sexologists, Shan Booty and Michelle Hope, and I was like, I feel like it spoke to me. I was like, why would I not try to apply myself in this way? We talk about sex all the time, and people are always coming to us and me for sex advice, and even my married friends. And I'm like, if only I had like real actionable tools that I could share with them. Like, hey, funny you asked. Let me open up study. Study in 1972 said. So yeah, I'm going to Sex Coach University. This last week was my first week. It's an 18-month program, and it's kind of go at your own pace. But I know that in order for me to accomplish this, and the overachieving bitch that I am, I want to get passes on every single, module. I'm going to have to create structure and a schedule, because we already have a lot going on. And what does an anxiety bitch like me like to do? Add more shit to my plate. It's my favorite fucking hobby.
But not doing anything would also give you anxiety.
I know.
It's like not doing shit gives you anxiety. Doing a lot of shit gives you anxiety. You can't win. This is an anxiety-ridden
Maybe
world.
do medium shit? I don't know.
No, that doesn't work.
I know. I was talking to this guy that I've been chatting with, and I was telling him that I could never be a stay-at-home wife because I would be depressed. And there was a time in my life when I was pregnant that I didn't work, and I was super sad. And that was probably why, because I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I'm just sitting. I mean, I was doing a lot, like, creating life, but still I felt like useless.
I'm a doer. Like when I grew up, I was adamant that I was going to be a housewife. That was my goal. I wanted to be a housewife, and I just wanted to look pretty and other people pay my bills, but God didn't want that for me.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. By the time I was like 15.
Wait, why? Like, did you see someone else do that, or you just were like, it just sounded like
me. It sounded like I could be beautiful. I could have a big house. I could cook and like make sure the house was clean, and like I would be satisfied in that. I don't know why I didn't see that. My mom actually did stay home, and then she became really miserable. So I don't know why that was in my cards, but it's not. Especially, you know what it is? I think more so at that age, I didn't realize.
I think housewives are doers, though.
No, they are doers if you're good at it. I'm not a good housewife. I don't know why that's what's in my cards. Like I can't. It's not that they're not doers. I think I can. I like to follow if I feel confident in my leader. If I have a lead that's going to take care of the bills, going to buy the house, and I could just decorate that bitch, I could do that to a T. Just give me the money. However, if I see, which happened to me, I thought I was going to be in a position I could just chill. And then I saw that the partner that I chose I could not chill. We would be fucking living in his mom's garage if I did that I was like, no. I'm also like, I could chill in a group of people until I see no one's doing the right thing, or we're taking the long way when we can go straight to the fucking, the fucking location. And I'm like, wait. Now, if you're good at leading, I'll do it. But if you're not, then I will sit back, But I'm really excited for you. I'm excited for your school journey. I'm also going to join school, but like Cher and Clueless, I'm trying to negotiate a discount. I'm still trying to negotiate a discount before I get into that school, but I'm excited for us, and I'm excited just for all of the 400 projects that we start together. And even when it gets overwhelming and I feel like I'm going to cry, I still I have to take a step back and give thanks that this is the problem. Like, I'm so stressed. I have so much things I want to develop, you know? And like, and even like speaking on the card or speaking on what we're just talking about, this has been a crazy fucking 2 years, and personally and in the world. And there was a time where shit was not going well for me. Like, I was very stressed out, but it was like always something in my gut, because we do have a lot of projects. We do plant a lot of seeds, that I wasn't really worried. You know, I'm like, shit's fucked up. I'm not well, but I know where we're heading and I know what we're doing. And I feel so confident here. And so like, I just know that this is where I'm supposed to be. And so I'm just like, I wouldn't rather be doing shit else but what I'm doing.
Same. I prayed for this. There was literally a time where I felt like I had no purpose, and going back and reading my journals, I reread those, and I was like, yep, definitely felt that way. And here I am, and I have anxiety, and I'm having migraines and shit because I have a lot going on and I'm not managing my time well. But I literally prayed to be fucking busy as fuck, and here I am. So thank you, God.
Thank God. I'm an esthetician. If no one knows, I'm a licensed esthetician. But I got my license renewed in the mail, and it dawned on me, I've been a licensed esthetician for 8 fucking years.
Hey,
I didn't know that. I was like, damn, okay, bitch.
You're a vet, bitch.
I'm a vet. But there was a time where I didn't feel fulfilled doing that. You know, like, my baby daddy would make me feel bad about that. Like, you're not doing shit in life. You're not changing anything. I'm like, I'm changing the world doing lashes, okay?
What the
Bitches feel beautiful.
Let's not talk about him, because
girl,
what the fuck you doing, nigga? Anyway.
But I wasn't feeling right. I was doing, but it just makes me realize, like, even for women out here who are in that space experiencing things where they're uncertain or not in their passion yet, and they're in jobs they're not happy with, trades, like, getting a trade is the shit. You know, like a 2-year college, a certification. I'm about that life. Like, I went to college, I didn't finish, but like, getting my esthetician license, I did it when I was pregnant. It was like by far the best decision that I made, because it made me realize, like, I could finish something, I could start a business in it, and I could be independent in it, and like, not have to clock in, not have to talk to anybody. Because that was the thing, like, don't talk to me, hire me, but after that, I'm good. I'm gonna do my job, leave me the fuck alone. I don't want to have a meeting. But like, that really gave me confidence, and that's why I'm excited that we're going into this space where we can apply other certifications and trainings and education into this beautiful world that we've created here, dear.
Amen. I have an affirmation for the day.
Oh, please share.
So today's affirmation is, and this is, thank you, this is again Trap Yoga Bay, because if you haven't listened to her episode, she was dropping serious gems, and now I'm fully obsessed with her.
Yeah, I am too. I'm like, are we besties? Yeah, okay, perfect.
I'm going to go up to her skyrise at the top of the penthouse suite and look down at the peasants with her. Okay, so today's affirmation is, be the change you want to see in your parents.
Ooh, I like that. Be the change you want to see in your parents. Some people may take that personally, but let's face it, parents can change. And they didn't do everything perfect.
And, you know, I mean, this doesn't always happen, but when your parents see you change, sometimes they follow suit and sometimes they learn from you. But really, it's about just kind of being able to do this whole thing the way you want to do it. This is what kind of like the whole podcast is about too, is like releasing shame, releasing these stigmas, and redesigning how you want to show up in the world as a parent for your kids. And that kind of leads us to today's topic, which, you know, we've talked a lot about how to talk about, you know, body parts with your kids, but I think that it's time for a refresher, because we get questions like about this all the time. And so me and Milah wanted to do and have a conversation and just give you guys some actionable tools on how to talk about body parts with your kids, whether, you know, you have babies, toddlers, teenagers, I mean, I don't want to say it's too late. It's not too late.
It's never too late.
It's never too late, but your kids probably have seen some shit.
They probably have. The internet is a wild, wild place.
Yeah. So these are 5 ways that you can talk about, body parts with your children.
We're all about honest parenting at Good Moms, especially honest parenting in a age appropriate way. Let's, emphasis on age appropriate. I think people see what is our tagline? Like sex positive, cannabis positive moms. I was reading a Facebook comment. They're like, what the fuck is sex positive? I'm like, sound it out. Fuck.
Wait, I was actually looking at our feed today because I posted this story where Irie was doing her own hair. She was doing her own hair. And literally the clip before that was a clip with Trap Yoga Bay where she's talking about how she almost went to jail over dick in Singapore, and it literally was like, I almost went to jail over dick in Singapore. It was like written bold pink, and then the next clip is Irie like thumbs up. I was like, wow, I maybe could have broken this feed up.
I put a picture in between.
There's no picture in between, babe. No, it's literally dicks and then my kid. So
well, guess what? Dick's got your kid here. I didn't say it was good dick that maybe put you in jail, but it got your kid here. So this is a place of honesty, and if you can't handle it, here's the door. Okay, we acknowledge that dick's got our kids here, and this is the place to find peace in it.
I mean, I accepted it. I was like, well, it's up. It's here. It's there. Whatever. They're gonna see. It's versatility, baby.
It's not only is it versatility. We're adults. If we can't have adult conversations pertaining to our children, pertaining to life, pertaining to sex, pertaining to all of the things, there's a problem, and that's why we created this motherfucking podcast, because there is a problem, and we are the change we want to see in the world.
And that brings me to number 1 on the list is, don't wait any longer and get everyone on board.
Okay, yes. I think people, it's such an awkward conversation, and they're like, oh, my kid's already 14. I'm sure they're good. They're good. And no, they're not good. Think about you when you were 14 or 12 or whatever age. And
even 16. Just,
I was not well. I had discovered my pussy and I was going crazy. When I discovered my vagina, I
probably hadn't looked at it though.
No, I hadn't looked at it, but like when I just discovered that it could get fucked.
Jesus Christ.
I did. It went up. I was not well. Yeah, it's true though. Like your hormones are fucking raging at, like, we look at like pregnant women. Oh, they're hormonal. Oh, they're crazy. Bitch. Teenagers are crazy and hormonal. They're not human. You have to like treat them as such. So I think like it doesn't matter what age. And another thing that I've noticed with this that people shy away from these conversations, and this is which is kind of weird to me. A lot of times people who have experienced abuse in childhood, sexual abuse, kind of don't even dig into this because it's so uncomfortable and there's so much trauma attached to children and like abuse, and the thing is, we have these conversations to prevent shit like that because it happens all the time. What was that statistic?
Well, that kind of leads back to the affirmation. It's like, be the change that you want, you didn't see in your parents. It's like whether you had those conversations with your parents, they didn't believe you. Like
you didn't feel comfortable having it at all. You waited a long time to tell them. You feel like they put you in a position that maybe was sketchy, and that's how that happened. And a lot of times it's from people in the family. It's from friends of the family. It's from people who are close. It's not some outside stranger in an alley. A lot of times it's from people within the household. So I just think these conversations in general just prevent all the shit you don't want to happen, even up to high school when kids do it voluntarily and consensually. Like you have to have the conversation so that kids are really like, do I want to do this consensually, or have I been like persuaded, or these talks I've had with my teenage friends make me think that this is what I'm supposed to do.
The statistic that you were talking about is 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 13 boys experience child abuse at some point in their childhood.
There's 3 girls in here. I experienced abuse in my childhood.
I didn't experience abuse, but I definitely saw penis before anyone ever talked to me about it.
It was
a show and tell. It was us exploring each other, and like I was probably like 6, and my cousin was probably 10, and he was like really, really adamant about me pulling down my pants and showing him my vagina. And I was like, I think I told the story. Like, I was really nervous, and then like we finally did it, and then my housekeeper walked in, and she was like, "Oh my god!" And I was like, "Oh my god!" It was like so much shame happened. Like, everyone got in trouble, and I was like, "Oh my god, what was that I saw?" Also, he saw mine. Is it wrong? Like, it was traumatic.
I also think that it's important for parents to understand when shit like that happens, because something similar happened. Never talked about that shit again, but with another girl with me. But I think that parents we as adults are so socialized by sexuality. Nudity is sex. Everything is sex. There's so much sex in media that we assume that curious children, it's sex. And it's not always sex. You guys realize, like, these are just our bodies that we were born with. And of course we have sexual organs and some of this shit feels good. But a lot of times kids haven't really discovered that part yet. They're really genuinely just curious about the parts of other people they don't see. The other night, Luna we were in the bed, and she was like, I don't know if I told the story already, but she was like, "Mama," I was like, "What?" She was like, what are boy vaginas? What are they called, boy vaginas? And I was like, "Penises, babe. They're penises. They don't have vaginas." She's like, "Oh." What a nighttime conversation. But it was just pure, like innocent and pure. She needed to know. So she wouldn't be around here calling boy vaginas. But yeah, start now.
Yeah, start now. Don't
now.
Wait. And when we say get everyone on board, I mean like baby daddy, I mean auntie, I mean grandma. Like, we don't need mixed messaging happening going on over here. And honestly, like, I know that you might get resistance. Like, your tia or, your mom is going to be like, no, we call it chi-chis over here, pee-pees over here. Well, then there's no bath time over here. There's no, it just means that, like, as a parent, you just have to have those boundaries with the people in your life, especially if they are going to be partaking in those intimate experiences with your kids.
And the conversation is uncomfortable in general. Like, with your child, even though you're the adult, it's uncomfortable. But, like, it can even be uncomfortable to have that conversation. Like, us talking about this made me think I have to have this conversation with my baby daddy's parents, because she spends a lot of time over there. And
she literally was like, "I'm going to text her right now." I was like, maybe we should do this in person. She's like, "Mm-mm."
I didn't do it. I took your advice. I didn't think today right now.
She was like, literally at this moment.
I was like, I'm going to text
randomly
her.
on a Saturday at 1
Hey, I just want you to know. Good morning. Haven't answered your phone calls in a week, but I want you to know something. Over here, okay, but, it's true. He has very old school parents. When I grew up, that's one thing I can say my parents were like, you need to urinate, you need to defecate, your vagina. Like, we used the words that we're supposed to use. And not that I heard the word penis in my house a lot, but we didn't use any alternative words. But
we did not. We used all types of weird words. And avoided the conversations.
No, we had regular words, but I feel like his parents probably don't. And I feel like that's going to be an uncomfortable conversation when I call her after this recording at 3:00 in the motherfucking afternoon on Saturday and say, "Hey, I just wanted to run this by you. I was thinking, and I want to make sure that I know, Luna's getting older, and I want to make sure that you guys are using the appropriate terms for her body parts, because I don't want it to be any confusion. This is what I do in my household. This is why it's important, because if someone's touching her inappropriately, I want her to be able to discuss it with me. And if it a lot of times people don't realize if you teach your kid the wrong word for shit and something happens, you have to go to court for that, and they can't identify if they're saying so-and-so touched my...
Or they have so much shame that they won't even say anything, like...
Because they're scared, because they haven't even talked about this shit regularly outside of abuse or harm. Like, then that's when this shit comes up, and that's why it's important. So, like, even that was me practicing for how I'm going to call her. Hello? Hey, how are you? Just wanted to touch bases about bath time. It's not that it may not be received well, it may not be comfortable, but I'd much rather have this uncomfortable conversation with her and whomever before something bad happens. And not to say that something bad will happen, but like those statistics are not well.
And honestly, having these uncomfortable conversations are great practice for so many other areas in your life, in your relationships. Like, it's just a great practice in general. I think that we just have to stop avoiding conversations and assuming things are just going to get handled and done. They are not.
I think that's the theme for October. Uncomfortable conversations. October, because You need to lean into the discomfort. Everything's not daisies and fucking sunshine. And in fact, the things that make you feel uncomfortable, give you anxiety, are probably the things that we need to practice doing more often.
Okay, well, I think that covers number 1. Number 2 on the list is go look at your own.
Have you taken a mirror to your vagina lately? I haven't. I need to look at it.
Ask your husband. I need you to ask your husband if he's looked at his scrotum lately.
You know what it is? I think male parts are more easy to examine.
Yeah, but still, you kind of do. You get under there. Go look at that little thing in between the balls and the butthole. What's it called? The gooch? Yeah, go look at that thing.
It's an interesting, like, that line, that line that goes
down
in
the
the middle.
ball.
Yeah, I'm always really intrigued by that line that goes down the middle of the balls to the scrotum to the butthole, because it's like, who made that line?
God.
I know.
God made that line. It's an invitation.
You know, that line is where our vaginas split. You know, like, I actually took a human sexuality class in high school because I was a go-getter. I don't know what's happening.
You were a sexologist in training.
I was. Apparently, I knew my future was going to be in sex. But I did. It was a fucking 3-hour course too, and I hadn't really. You know what? Wow. It's true. I didn't even know. I mean, I knew I was a little hoe, but I didn't know I was obsessed with sex to that extent that I went after high school and I took a night class at Valley College that literally was 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Wow.
And that was the first time that I understood that we do start with the same things, and then literally our outer labia drops down into testicles, and our clitoris extends into the head of the penis, which is why our clitoris is sensitive and gets engorged or blood. Yeah, and like erected almost, and so does a man's. So shout out to me taking that fucking
shout out to you
human sexuality class for no goddamn reason. Except this one.
There was a reason.
But yeah, I think you and your man should pull up the mirrors tonight before you start giving advice to your kids.
Yeah, I mean, because this isn't just for. I mean, we have boys, we have girls, like, and I was reading that most women, and I didn't have to read to even assume this, but that most women and mothers are the ones having these conversations with their kids. When I feel like I would love for a man to kind of take on this conversation. I think for both, whether you have a girl or a boy, and I think men are, like, when I was reading this article about it, they were saying that men are a lot more direct, which kids appreciate more, whereas like sometimes moms get really nervous and they like kind of like scatter around the issue and stuff. But I think it's important that both parents are on board and that you both feel comfortable talking about it and you both practice this. If you're married, this isn't just your burden. This isn't just your cross to bear, honey. Like, get daddy on board.
I firmly believe in this. I remember I went on a camping trip with a friend in like elementary school, and we stayed in an RV, and only her dad went, and we had been like to the beach and stuff, and I remember her vagina was hurting, and she told her dad, and her dad told her to come in the RV. He put me and her brother out, and he looked at her vagina, and in my head I was like, wow, that's weird. But like looking back, I'm like, that's a good fucking parent. And I just think I feel really bad for men in this space, because I feel like first of all, boys and girls get abused. And second of all, men and women and boys and girls are abusers. We're human. This is how it works. But I think men get shy away from this so much because they're given this
title,
this abuser title. It's just so crazy. Like, if you're not an abuser, then you don't have shit to worry about. Like, these are your kids. You have to get involved. These are things we have to talk about. So I do really I hope and wish like dads out there listening, even stepdads, I think these are conversations with men that you trust that are around your children that we should all be having in your household, because we're all in the household.
And it is a practice of feeling safe around men.
Yes, like I'm choosing a man I feel safe with. This is your dad, this is my husband, this is my man, whatever. And like showing your child what that looks like to feel safe around a man. And men, if you're not a weird ass guy, you shouldn't feel shamed. I met a guy who was like, yeah, when my daughter has sleepovers, his daughter's a baby, and this stuck with me. She told me this like last year, I'm going to leave the house. Why are you leaving your house for the sleepover? because I just don't like. No. What are you teaching your child that you can't be in the motherfucking house when her friends are over? That you're not to be trusted? It's just really sad that that's the, like, the norm for men. Like, they don't pick up children or whatever. Like, nigga, it is, unless you're doing some weird shit. I don't feel that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think. Like I said, I think that both parents have a responsibility to practice this. Both parents should take that mirror and go look at your own, so that when you are explaining to your kids, the difference between a vulva and a vagina, you actually know what the fuck you're talking about. Like, don't just listen to this episode and just not and just take the things that we say. Like, no, you should go look at your shit. I mean, and I know a lot of women that are listening, are more empowered in to do that. But if you aren't, like, it's totally normal. It's totally fine. Go do it. You should know what it looks like. Your child should know what it looks like. It's not this scary thing. Don't wait for your child's first experience in sex to be with a man being the first person to see their vagina. Like, they won't even know what their own thing looks like. It's really important, I think, that we know what our body parts look like, not just our knee and our toes, because they're easily accessible.
Well, that's the thing. I think it's kind of like a not like a metaphor for life, right? But like, if our vessel, if there's parts of our vessel we haven't explored right here on our body, how much of ourselves have we not explored? How afraid of you of certain aspects of yourself if you haven't even, like, the dark parts of you, the things that make you scared, the traumas you've acquired, like, all these things that you've acquired. If you're afraid to literally look at the shit that's right in front of you that brings you pleasure or not or whatever, like, those are things you need to shed light on and lean into, because that shit is important.
And do your research, so that when your kids, because kids going to have some questions, let me tell you, because they nosy and they need to know. When they ask you, Mommy, what is this? Mommy, what is that? So you have actual answers for them. So when you go look at your vulva and you explore, know what your clitoris is, know, like, the different parts of your anatomy, so that you can explain it in an educated way and it's not scary and not shameful. That's rule number one, is like, let's take the shame out of all of this, because your kids know when you are feeling ashamed. They can tell they can see it in your body language. You should probably practice this conversation with a friend or with your husband before you do it, just so that like, when you go into this conversation with your kids, that they're not like, why is Mommy acting so fucking weird right now? Like,
right. Like, okay. Like, they're not trying to end the conversation before you do. You know what? That's another thing that made me think about when we talk about the dads. My baby daddy asked me, but, like, probably when Luna was, like, a newborn, when do you think I'll have to stop taking baths with her? Like, showers. And I'm like, I don't know. When you stop feeling uncomfortable about it. But, like, it's not anything I ever thought about when she's at his house without me. Like, I'm sure she's seen him naked, maybe not recently, but, like, I'm sure in passing it's happened. And, like, even in my house, it wasn't, like, super weird. We weren't like European. He wasn't, like, walking around with his dick out. But even now, if my dad comes to my house and, like, I'm maybe half naked, like, I'll answer the door. I don't feel that uncomfortable around my dad naked. Definitely don't want to see my dad naked now.
Are you topless around your dad?
No, but, like, if I'm in the shower and I need him to hand me a towel, you can. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm not trying to be naked around my dad, but also if it does, it's not the end of the world. Like, I'll answer the door in my panties or something like that. But, like, I think that weirdness kind of starts there. It's obviously for everybody's personal comfort level, but, like, I think that's, where it starts to get weird. What's number 3?
Number 3 is use bath time as the perfect time to show and tell.
That's an easy one. But again, like what you said about how you feel about the conversation, the energy you're putting into the conversation, it's super important that you not make everything super scary and daunting. My mother, I will never forget, had this conversation with me. I had to be 3. I was in the bathtub of my great-grandmother's house in Philadelphia, and she was like, if anyone ever touches you right there, you tell me immediately. I was like, okay. The fuck is wrong with you? Crazy? It was so intense.
I actually also had a traumatizing bath experience with my mom. Like, I remember specifically, like, I think I had a rash or something, and she was like, who touched you? Was it Floor? Like, she accused like my other basically mom that I love so much. Like, she was wanting to like make me feel comfortable sharing that it was her. And I was like, no, it wasn't. And like she kept prodding at me, and I was like, no. And then she was like, oh, it must be like like the perfume. I remember like must
fragrance
be the
ass.
Must be the fragrance in the wash. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And I was like traumatized after that. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to get Floor in trouble.
But I do remember not long after that, and this memory only came back like in high school, that she had that conversation. I was really scared. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? But I do remember a little boy touched me on my vagina. And because of that scary conversation, I was mortified to mention it. But then I did. And then I remember shit blowing up. I don't know what the fuck happened. I remember them calling. They called my grandmother to call the little boy. I don't know what the fuck happened. I honestly, it must have been so traumatizing that I did not forget until like 20 years late, like 15 years later. I was in high school and we were like driving by that house, and it all flooded back to me, which is also very scary because kids can suppress. Also, I think what's important about bath time is you're the number one example. You know, like Luna will be in my shit, and at first I'm like, she came out this shit. What do you need to know? You know, she's like, am I going to have hair when I get older? I don't want it. I'm like, girl, you're going to get it, okay? Or I like to pick, like, black, like, ingrown. She's like, let me try. What are you doing? She's just all up in my shit, you know? And at first it kind of made me uncomfortable, but then I'm like, girl, whatever questions you got, now is the time.
Yeah, I mean, I use bath time as I've used it because, first of all, this is not a one and done conversation. It's an ongoing conversation. You know, making sure that my daughter knows how to clean herself properly is an ongoing conversation. I'm always making sure that she's cleaning herself properly, which is always an opportunity for me to talk to her about it, because there's been times where she's like, I'm itchy, and we have to go back in the shower and we have to clean and we have to and I've had to literally, and that was the perfect time for me to bring a mirror and show her, like, look, this is what's happening. This is what happens when you don't clean yourself well. You see this is what's not supposed to be in here. This is, and like, honestly, when she goes to her dad's house, I do get stressed out because unfortunately we don't necessarily we're not on the same page about a lot of things. So I have to like make sure, like, I literally am like, so baby, when you go there, make sure you're cleaning your vagina really, really well. And I will call her and ask her, like, when you took a shower today, did you clean your vagina well? And she's like, yes, mom. But it's just, I think the shower is just a great opportunity because you're both naked. I mean, obviously, if you have older kids, maybe you're not showering with them anymore. So bath time is kind of out and you'd have to kind of figure out something else, another opportunity to kind of have these conversations. I mean, it's just going to have to be a little bit more direct, I think, at that point.
But it has to happen.
Yeah.
But I've also kind of like made it so casual so that I'm not doing the thing my mom did to me where she's acting crazy. And I'm just like, hey, girl, how was school? What'd you guys learn today? Has anyone touched your vagina lately? No, Mom. Okay. The other day I said it and she's like, Mom, nobody wants to touch my vagina. Why do you keep asking me that? I was like, I don't know. I mean, I know, but some people are weird. You just got to ask. I don't know. I just thought, okay, well, fine. You know, I just throw that in there once a week, every couple of weeks. Just so like, did you brush your teeth? Okay. Anyone touch your vagina? Oh, cool. All right. I just like the most casual, you know, conversations about body parts.
I mean, even like for me the other day, Floor told me that her dog, her puppy, or it's this puppy that she got, Irie, that's, thank God, it's really her dog because it's at her house, but she started her period and she's like, you know, she was like whispering about it to me, like, ay, mía, de sangre. I was like, what She's like, started her period. I was like, okay. She's like, I don't want to tell Irie. I'm scared to tell her. I was like, why are you scared to tell her? She's like, she doesn't know anything about that. I was like, yes, she does. She knows what a period is.
I bleed.
She was like, oh, she does? I was like, yes. I'm like, my daughter literally is basically like her, if you could, I could just see her little head next to the toilet. And when I'm on the toilet, like she won't leave me the fuck alone.
There's no space.
So there's no space. And so, yes, she has seen me change my tampon and she has asked me, what is that? And like, and I have had to tell her.
Wait. One time we were in the house and she was like asking me to go on a walk. I was like, I don't feel like walking right now. I don't feel good. She's like, use those things in the bathroom. I'm like, what are you talking about? Use those things you use in the bathroom. They're going to help you run. I'm like, what are you talking about? This girl goes and gets my box of tampons. Because the girl on there is like running. She thinks it's a running aid. I don't know what she thinks. I'm like, girl, that is for my period. That is not to help you run.
I mean, it does help you. It does make you feel more it makes you feel. Although I'm done with tampons, I've been converted to period panties because I never thought I'd say this because I do not like pads. I am not like a hippie free bleeder. In that way.
Well, that's a free bleeding.
Well, now I am
mechanism. Yeah,
but because these panties that I got, like they're dry. Like no matter how heavy my flow is, I literally put a napkin and like wiped the crotch area and there was no blood. I was like, how the fuck is there no blood? And I'm like, I'm not asking questions. I'm just wearing these. I don't care.
I before I even knew the term free bleeding, I prefer to free bleed. I don't love tampons. I use them. I never use fucking pads, but I've been trying to find a
So
panty.
what do you do when you free bleed? You just bleed all over your house? Like,
no,
when I hear free bleed, I think of like women just like walking around their home like
I mean, it's happened.
Like a dog is just like
it's
bleeding
happened.
all
I've
over
done
your
it.
home.
It's definitely happened. I don't have a really heavy period, which I'm wondering, does that mean I don't have any eggs left? Can someone write in and tell me?
At soccer practice the other day, this woman was telling Jamila, I was like half listening because I was on the phone, but she was like, yeah, you know, when your period starts to get lighter, that means you're becoming infertile. And Jamila was like, no, I don't think that's true. And she's like, no, it's true. And Jamila's like, no. And I was like, I'm staying out of this conversation.
You know I'm fucking fertile moral, but now I'm concerned.
Don't be. Please don't test the limits.
I'm not testing the limits. But I will like walk around, or I have this theory that if I'm laying horizontally, I just won't drip. That doesn't always work. That's why I'm also happy to have period panties. But we had a conversation with another parent, a dad, and he was like, I don't know what the fuck he was talking about. He talks a lot, but he's like, yeah, you know, my son, he was all whispering, was asking about, I was like, what? I was like, no, I don't know. What the fuck are you talking about? I was like, the period. And I was like, can you stop making these faces?
He was doing these weird.
I was like, what the fuck is that? First of all, you guys, we don't die when we get a period, like we're still human, we're still talking and shit. We're not like, I was like, what the fuck does that mean? I was just like, you just tell him. The fuck? This is why boys don't know shit. This is why men don't know shit about vaginas or women, because they think like you're supposed to go into a room and cry when you're in your period. So crazy. I remember my mom, I don't know if I've told this story, but I was little. I was like 6, and she was in the bathroom. She got out the shower, and I was in there, and I was like, Mom, you have a string. I kept trying to pull the string. She's like, get out. I was like, Mom, you have a string. I'm trying to grab the... She's like, get out of the bathroom. I was like, but Mom, I'm trying to help you. You have a string. And she pushed me out of the bathroom, and I was just like, you know what? Fuck her. She doesn't listen to me. It's fucking whatever. 400 years later, I'm like, oh my God, it wasn't a fucking string. It was a tampon. Why did no one tell me this?
Yeah, they didn't. And, I don't know. I think that normalizing periods is really important for girls. I think boys should know too, but I think it's even more important for... Actually, boys need to know too, because I'm so over men saying they don't have sex on periods, and they are making weird things about periods and just big, like anytime you talk about it, they're like, ugh. I'm like, okay, you better be glad I fucking got a period, because you're safe now, nigga. We're not pregnant, okay?
Yeah, I don't want to hear your weirdness about periods. Honestly, I mean, every woman doesn't feel comfortable having sex on their period. I'm not one of those women. If you don't have sex with me on my period, you know how many weeks in life I'm losing on sex? Probably 2 years. I don't know how many. I don't know, a week times 80. I don't know. I don't fucking know the math on that, but it's a lot of years. And I refuse to cut my sex life short because you're weird with period blood. I'm dating a guy who's all about the sex on the period and even eating my pussy on the period, and I'm like, perfect. I'm never going back. It's gonna be on my intake form. It was,
yeah. I mean, my ex last year, he actually made me feel really comfortable, even more comfortable about it. And I was like, okay, wow. And now, yeah, it's hard to go back from that.
Anyway, that veered off.
Okay, anyway, back to the kids.
Back to the children. Anyway, back to the children.
Okay, number 4. Number 4 on the list is boundaries and time and place. So boundaries is really important too. When you're discussing, for example, Jamila telling her daughter and asking, I've done this too, is saying, has anyone touched your vagina today? Just actually talking about it casually. Also following up with the boundaries and discussing, when it is appropriate to touch yourself. Because let's be honest, if you have kids that are between the ages of, I don't know, 2 and 6, they're exploring themselves. They are touching themselves. They're spreading those legs open. And, you know, it becomes uncomfortable as a parent. I've definitely experienced it where I'm like, whoa, what's happening? And where my mom has come in and try to do that, you know, shaming thing because she, you know, hasn't totally gotten on board either, which, you know, I'm doing this episode too as a conversation to myself because I need to have these conversations with my parents, especially my mom. And we've had it briefly, but I've noticed that there's things that still come up from like just the way that she was brought up. It's really not a slight to her at all. It's just how she was brought up and, you know, what she thinks is right and wrong. But I think telling your kids and expressing, you know, boundaries as far as when is the appropriate time to touch yourself, who is allowed to be touching you, you know, establishing those people early on too, like grandma can give you bath time, whatever nanny can give you bath time, I can, Tia, everyone else is a no. I think those boundaries are really, really important for kids because they don't know boundaries. Kids don't really have boundaries. It's just kind of like.
And then when they do, respect them.
Yeah.
If one is like, can you close the door? Okay.
I mean, even with me, I have to respect my daughter's boundaries too because she feels uncomfortable. Like today at the soccer game, we need to take her jersey off and put a doo-doo shirt on, and she's like covering her little nipples that are like non-existent, and she was getting all like nervous and like feeling weird, and I was like, babe, there's no one's looking at you. And she was like, I don't care, like I want to be covered. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to respect that boundary. That is a boundary that you need and you want. For me, I'm like, girl, but I have to respect that boundary.
That just reminded me, that's so crazy. I had this memory that just came back. I was at a pool party with my dad, and like I think my bikini like slipped out of the string, and I was just sitting there for a long time uncomfortable, and nobody helped me. And I was like, Dad, or whatever, and they were just like, bitch, you don't have anything. But I was mortified, and nobody would do anything. And I was like, does everyone see me sitting here? Nobody cared except me.
Yeah, because they think, oh, well, there's just nothing to show, so there's nothing to be ashamed about. And it's not even necessarily shame. It's just your own personal boundaries. And we have to respect our kids' personal boundaries. I know I have to because I think I'm a freer, more open person than my daughter is. Even after empowering her, even after doing all those things, this is just who she is innately within herself. And I have to respect that. And so even today at the soccer game, I was like, okay, well, let's cover you up. Like, let me help you feel safe and protected, even though, girl, ain't nobody looking at you. So I think boundaries is something that is really important, and talking to your kids about boundaries and asking them like what they feel comfortable with and what they feel uncomfortable with is important too.
And just making them feel safe. Like if you are touched, I'm like, why are you touching yourself? Does it feel good? Like, yeah, oh, cool. Yeah, same. I know it does feel good. You know, like, let's be honest, like, shit feels good when it's aroused, you know, like that's a part of the human fucking anatomy. And I think sometimes we lean so far away from that, especially from little girls, that as women, we forget to prioritize our pleasure. We don't know how. It's never been talked to us about. And so it's just like, someone told us a story about a little girl who was touching herself with the door open, and her mom was like, hey, can you just close the door when you're having time with yourself? She said, okay, went in the room, closed the door. Later, she was in there asleep. Okay? She handled her business, took a nap. I feel you, girl. You got to handle your business and take a nap. Just close the door when you do it. You know, it's like to be done alone, not to be done with anyone else. No one else is to touch you. And especially like friends, especially like, I think that's my biggest fear for me is like the same age shit. Because I was touched by a cousin who was the same age as me, and I didn't consider, or a little bit older than me, but I didn't consider that as abuse until like recently. Like, okay, that exposed me too early to things that I wasn't prepared for. And she was exposed early because she was abused. And so sometimes those are signs, but sometimes they're just exploring their bodies. And that's why it's really important to have regular, comfortable conversations, because then you're not assuming and jumping when that happens. You know that they're just bringing themselves pleasure. They've discovered self-pleasure, and that's okay, versus someone's introducing that to them.
Right.
So it's just like being able to have even those simple conversations.
And I think that goes into our fifth one, which is, I mean, I think 4 and 5 are just kind of reiterating the same thing because they're really important when you're talking about, you know, body parts with your kids, and that's good touch, bad touch. And I think that's establishing with your kids what is good, who is safe, and who is not, and when things are appropriate and when things are not appropriate. But again, not doing the thing like Jamilah's mom did, where she like scared the living shit out of her, and having just gentle conversations and ongoing conversations. These aren't one-time conversations. These are things that we are going to be doing over and over and over until they feel normal for all of us, you included.
And not sexualizing your child's curiosity. You know, sometimes kids are just curious. My niece tried to go in the bathroom with my uncle, and she literally said, "I want to see it." Fucking little weirdo. But she probably did just want to see it. Like, why are you standing up? I don't stand up when I pee. These are basic, regular questions that we have differences. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're developing. You notice as a kid, like, damn, we in the house we're naked, but and we're covered certain times. Like, why are these parts always covered? What does that mean? You know? And then it doesn't help that everything in the media, even Disney shit, everything has underlying sex in it. Everything has underlying sex in it because we're human and our human nature is to fucking procreate. So there just has to be these basic conversations that happen. And like, I think sometimes people think if you're having these conversations with your kids, you're encouraging them to indulge in like sex but no, like, we're just having regular conversations. And most importantly, what I think is the most important about these conversations is teaching them to trust their intuition and teaching them to trust what makes them feel comfortable. Luna knows she could sleep naked or she cannot, you know, but she asks me every night, "Can I sleep naked tonight?" "Sure, girl." You know what I mean? But like, I want her like to gauge who she feels comfortable with, you know what I mean? I just feel like we have to empower them to know what's right and what's wrong in their bodies. I think that's the biggest lesson. It's not like everyone's going to hurt you. Don't do this. Even to the point, like, we were watching a movie, The Craft, and I remember like my parents always covering my fucking eyes, and I'm like, I know something's going on, and now I really want to see what it is. Mm-hmm. But like, this guy was coming on to this girl, and she was like, "No," and she started running. It was kind of rapey, and Luna was like, "What? Why did he did that?" Because she did not want him to touch her, so she said, "Get out of here." And I was like, "Yep." Like, letting her know, like, I was gonna and I told her, everybody's not cool. You know, you could think someone's cool, you could think someone's your friend, and sometimes they're not cool. And you got to be able to tell people, no, don't touch me.
That, and knowing that, like, an adult should never, ever, ever tell you to keep a secret. Because I think that's, like, one of the biggest, you know, signs of abuse is, like, that's how abusers, what they do is that, like, this is our little secret. This is our secret. And like,
or you're going to get in trouble if you tell.
Mm-hmm. Just knowing and creating that. And these are why these conversations are so important, because your child will know they are not going to get in trouble. Because actually, me and my mom talk about this shit all the time. I know I'm not going to get in trouble, nigga or bitch, you know?
And feeling empowered to tell an adult, like, I'm good, weirdo. Like, nope. Like, predators know who they can fuck with. Predators know who they can fuck with. And even children, if you're even children on children abuse, like, if you don't give your kid the confidence to tell anyone no, then they won't have the confidence to know, like, they have to abide by all adults. Like, kids should be given the power to have agency over their own bodies.
Yeah. No means no.
Including if she don't want to hug Uncle Jimmy or Auntie Susie. Okay.
Absolutely.
If she don't want to hug, she doesn't have to hug today. She doesn't want to fucking speak. She really doesn't want to. She doesn't have to speak. I don't want to fucking raise any yes-ass women, people-pleasing women. I'm working out of being a people-pleaser. I'm trying to give my child the tools to be a fucking self-pleaser. Please yourself.
Amen.
Well, that concludes our education for the day.
I hope those tools were helpful, and if we have any parents that have any other advice or any other things you think we've missed, make sure to just DM us. Let us know. We are learning as well. We're learning as we go, and I'm always interested to know about how other parents are parenting their kids, especially, I mean, we're new to this shit. Like, I'm trying to know, like, okay, you're like, for like our girl Neerlin, she's a seasoned mama. she be knowing a lot of shit. I be listening to her like, so what did you do, girl? Because she has 2 well-adjusted, amazing sons that respect women. And I'm like, you did your thing, bitch. You did that.
Yeah, really. And that's huge. Like raising men that are who respect women, respect their bodies, understand that. Like that is a huge, huge role to play, you know, as mom. Mom, we always have all this. We changed the world.
We did. We do. Every day. Well, I guess that's it, my love.
I guess so. If you want to find us, you can find us on Instagram at goodmoms_bad_choices. If you guys are going on the retreat, I can't fucking wait. If you're excited and you aren't able to join this one, there's only limited spots. We're going to do more. Still go to our website, goodmomsbadchoices.com, and sign up for the retreat
mailing list.
So you can find out about the next one.
Yeah, we're already starting to plan our next one because we're crazy. But make sure you please go rate and review us. Go rate and review us. Reviews matter. Help some Black moms out and get us to 2K ratings.
Please and thank you.
And we'll catch you next week.
Bye.
Bye.